Thank you everyone for staying on and listening to the graduate students. They're presenting just 7 minutes of the research that they have been working on through their master's or PhD programs, but we wanted to give them an opportunity to present. So the first one up is Julie Opgenorth from work that she did at Michigan State University on modulating colostrum with omega-3 fatty acids to enhance calf health.
All right, thank you, Dr. Borman, and thank you for attending my presentation. I defended my master's thesis this past fall at Michigan State, and I'll give a brief snapshot of some of my thesis research. So we know that oxidative stress and inflammation are known to be associated and linked with both calf diarrhea and pneumonia, which are the two most prevalent diseases in calves. And Murray et al. And colleagues found that calves with increased inflammatory markers their first week of life had increased disease incidence and mortality within 4 months of age. And so with that, the objective of my thesis was to observe the effects of supplementing omega-3 fatty acids with in colostrum, which are known for having anti-inflammatory effects on calf health. We hypothesized that supplementing fish and flax rich in omega-3 fatty acids to colostrum would decrease indicators of inflammation and oxidative stress following birth to improve calf health. So in the interest of time, I'll dive right into results. In one experiment, we had 4 dietary treatments where control calves received colostrum without any additional supplementation, and they will be depicted in the black dotted line, whereas the fish and flaxseed oil supplemented calves, FF 30, 60, and 120, received 30, 60, and 120 milliliters respectively of a 1-to-1 ratio fish to flax oil blend in their first colostrum feeding. Following that first colostrum feeding, all calves received the same diets. We then compared the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids in the plasma phospholipid. And this ratio is important because omega-6 fatty acids, which are much more prevalent in cow and calf diets, have more pro-inflammatory roles, whereas omega-3 fatty acids have more anti-inflammatory roles. And both of these fatty acids share similar metabolic pathways. And we found that this ratio was decreased in the first 2 weeks of life with the fish and flax supplemented calves just by supplementation on day 0. And this indicates that omega-3 fatty acid supplementation in colostrum increased and maintained an increase in omega-3s up to at least 2 weeks after that supplementation. However, when we looked at indicators of oxidative stress, the results were not as long-term. This graph shows 8-isoprostaglandin A2. It's an isoprostane, a common biomarker of oxidative stress. And this was one indicator of oxidative stress that we looked at. In the first week overall, our fish and flax treatments decreased 8-iso-PGA2 relative to control and actually prevented an increase compared to the control calves. And this graph indicated that oxidative stress was reduced with the fish and flax supplemented treatments, but only in the first week of life. And in another experiment looking at just a 60 milliliter dose of fish and flax in colostrum, we measured gene expression of inflammatory markers in peripheral blood mononuclear cells. So this was done by collecting whole blood off of our calves on day 2 of age after colostrum supplementation on day 0. And we stimulated this whole blood with lipopolysaccharide endotoxin, which activates the inflammation, and no difference in gene expression of the inflammatory markers that we looked at were observed. Although interleukin 8 on the left a pro-inflammatory cytokine did tend to have reduced expression with the fish and flax supplemented calves. Additionally, in the same experiment observing health, the following health indices of fecal, eye, and nasal scores were scored on a scale of 0 to 3 by trained researchers blind to treatment. This was one parameter we looked at to indicate health, and scores were recorded on a 3 times per week basis during an 8-week pre-weaning period, where a score of 0 was observationally healthy. On a score of 1 to 3 was increasingly more diuretic with greater eye or nasal discharge. So this table shows the number of recorded days per calf per treatment, non-normal or less than healthy scores of 1 to 3 were observed. And we did not see changes between the control and fish flax 60 groups. Indicating our fish and flax treatment in colostrum did not show improved health over time. So in summary, overall, we found supplementing fish and flaxseed oil in colostrum indicated reduced oxidative stress, but no change in inflammation. No effects on overall calf health or disease incidence were observed. And some management strategies to mitigate oxidative stress and inflammation we can currently implement are by reducing dystocia. Dystocia can decrease available antioxidants and could put calves at risk for greater oxidative stress. And so improving calving ease can be one strategy to promote calf health. Additionally, providing a clean environment to reduce pathogen load and protect against disease is important. Calves will put their nose anywhere, so even when they're resting. So fresh bedding, I think, is especially substantial to protect against both pneumonic and enteric pathogens, as well as good ventilation. And of course, giving colostrum in a timely manner to provide stronger immunity and antioxidants for calves is a necessary step. So in future, research should continue to explore the effectiveness of omega-3 fatty acid supplementation. There is conflicting research on effects on animal performance and potentially exploring alternative immunomodulatory agents. Many farms currently give vitamin E after birth, and all calves, regardless of treatment in these experiments, received vitamin E as normal farm protocol. And the control calves still showed increased oxidative stress given 100 milligrams of vitamin E. So perhaps we should revisit what an optimal dose could be. And so with that, I'll acknowledge the below groups for making this research possible, and thanks for tuning in.